Hustle culture is causing people to burn out. Do you remember a time when having two or more jobs or gigs meant that you were getting to it, that you were on your big boy or girl stuff, and that you were really killing it? Well, not anymore. And not for a long, long while now. Working two or more jobs or gigs means that you're trying to survive. You're in survival mode. You're doing it because you have to, not because you want to. You're doing it because you're forced to, not because you choose to. And this affects more than most people, as society has been systematically set up and orchestrated for most of us to suffer and have to slave the rest of our lives. And even with working multiple jobs and gigs, most people are still struggling to make ends meet and are living paycheck to paycheck. For those of us who have broken out of the matrix, I more than salute you. For those of us that are still trying to, I salute you. Keep going. We'll get there. Let's hear some stories from some who have broken out and some that are still trying to. Keep going.
One thing I realized instantly after living abroad is how the hustle culture in America is straight up toxic. I'm not perfect. I played a part in it too at some point in my life. Think about it, this illusion of hustle. You have people who are working two jobs and still broke. I know there's many different factors and many different reasons for that, of course. We also have people who do it to themselves. People who want to look rich online for a lifestyle, but their debts are creeping up on them. A great example right now, look at NBA player Malik Beasley. That's not success. And don't get me started on the cringe LinkedIn hustle culture people on there. Holy shit. You'll see a post like, I was in the hospital, but I was still able to close a deal. Bro, worry about your health on that hospital bed, bro. Fuck the goals, fuck the metrics. They'll replace your ass just like that. As soon as you flatline with no problem, no remorse, but you're over here posting about that just to kiss ass to other corporations or companies to show them that you're a company person. Don't get it twisted. People abroad hustle too, but they don't make their work and their business their personalities like we do in the US. People have their families, their hobbies, the things that they enjoy outside of work. When you meet somebody abroad, the first question isn't, what do you do for a living? That's not a common question like it is in the US. What do you do for a living? What you do for a living is who you are as a person only. People abroad, they live to work, not work to live. That's the primary difference that I've been seeing. That's a different kind of freedom. If you've been questioning the grind, you're not crazy. More people are opening up their eyes to it now. They're realizing it more. The corporations play a big part in this, and the billionaires, because they want to see the American people suffer. So I understand as well why people might have multiple jobs and still broke. That's what I mean by factors that they can't control. But lifestyle creep and trying to impress other people to show them that you have more money than what you're really worth, that you can control.
Is anyone else exhausted from living 4 lives at once? I am constantly busy, but somehow never feel like I'm doing enough. My brain is always just a running list. Respond to that email, learn how to sew, call your friend back, go to the gym, have hobbies, be interesting, be healed. So everything that I do falls into 4 categories: work, friendship, passions, and self-care. Trying to adequately attend to all of them feels like trying to juggle 18 balls at once and just dropping all of them. And then there's everyone else running multi-million-dollar companies while taking care of 6 kids, full-time work, full-time grad school, and still writing best-selling books, getting 3 hours of sleep a day and still managing to party every night. Meanwhile, I get off a 15-minute call and need to take a 2-hour nap. And the saddest part is that when you're always in getting things done mode, you lose touch with the part of you that just needs to simply exist. Not optimizing, not improving, just being present. So if you feel like you're constantly behind on your own life, there's nothing wrong with you. It just means you're human.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are allowed to rest. I feel like this time of year especially, we are just absolutely bombarded with all the things that we need to do and the ways that we need to hustle to get to the new year. And I always have to remind myself that human beings were never meant to operate at the level that we are expecting ourselves to operate. Like, as a species, we have just created so much extra work for ourselves. Around this time of year, I just find myself getting so overwhelmed by overconsumption. And that's not just like the Black Friday deals and all the like actual consumerism consumption. I'm talking about the girl boss, work hard, play hard, get up at 5 a.m. to go to Pilates, work all night long long but somehow still get 8 hours of sleep. Oh wait, just kidding. To have nice skin, you need 10 hours of sleep. Drink 6 gallons of water a day. Never drink any alcohol. But make sure that you still make time to prioritize your social life with your friends. Make time for grocery shopping and healthy cooking. Read 20 pages of a self-help book every day. Oh, and be a good friend and make sure you check up on everybody in your life. Remember to journal. And if you don't have a 48-step skincare routine, you're doing it wrong. Oh, and don't forget to call your mom. That kind of overconsumption. And when you're a person who puts a lot of their self-worth and value into their productivity, this can be a really, really hard world to live in. I'm kind of notorious for always filling up my schedule and always overcommitting and never saying no, just because, like I said, I associate a lot of my value as a person in how productive I am, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, probably a bad thing. And it can be kind of paralyzing, right? Like, I don't know about you, but when I get in these moods, I literally make a huge list in my phone of like all the random shit that I have to do. And I just kind of like freeze. Like, it's paralyzing. When I start to feel like this, I try to remind myself that A, everybody feels this way, even if they're not posting it on their perfectly curated feed. And B, if you don't allow yourself the time to rest now, you will end up paying for it later. As I have learned far too many times, when you push yourself too hard, take your pick, either your mind or your body will shut down and force you to rest. Rest is not something that's earned. It's actually a basic need. And I promise you that even the wellness girly on your For You page who gets up at 4 a.m. to run 15 miles, or the mommy blogger with 7 kids, a beautifully decorated home, and a perfect marriage, the kick-ass girl boss CEO who somehow still has time for a full-on social media career and her own podcast, all of those people feel the exact same way you do, even if they won't tell you.
Hustle culture is causing your burnout. Yeah, I said it. You know, the constant grind, go, 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 do, do, do. We're constantly told to push and work harder, but at what cost? Let's talk about the truth about hustle culture and burnout. First of all, hustle culture glamorizes overworking, making it seem like it's the only path to success. It leads to overstress, exhaustion, and ultimately dis-ease. This is the premise to my assertion that healthcare providers are killing themselves slowly by trying to save other people's lives. Our brains and our bodies, we need downtime to recharge. This is not weakness. Truthfully, y'all, balance is the key. Prioritizing your mental health, emotional health, spiritual health can actually lead to increased productivity in the long run. So next time someone tells you to hustle harder, please remember the truth about hustle culture and burnout.
Okay, so God did not call you to build a business that burns you out. I think we all just got a little bit used to calling it productivity and discipline. Yeah, I'm literally speaking to my past self, okay, whenever I record this, because I was this way for 5 years. From 2018 through 2023, whenever I was building my very first business, I hustled as hard as I freaking could because I put self-employment on a pedestal and I made it the idol in my business, and then I just labeled it ambition. I'm not gonna lie to you, it is very difficult to run a business that is actually aligned with what God calls us to do, because everything online about entrepreneurship and business growth says to stay consistent and work harder and push through and to not back down and to not slow down and all of these things. That's not me saying that all of that advice is bad, because individually, yes, it can be used for good as long as it is in alignment with God's will. Now, in the world of entrepreneurship and running a business, those actions and those labels, right, are just basically thrown into one big pot, and we're told, hey, this is the way that it is. Those actions need to be the label for how you are and how you operate your business. Because you care about what you do and you care about your business and you want to be productive, right? Those things seem good. So what do? You do it. Haven't we all been there? Now, remember whenever I said that one of those traits is to not slow down. Don't stop running. Don't stop working, whatever it may be. Okay, when things get hard, push through, whatever. But the moment that you literally get scared to stop running, okay, is the moment that you have allowed fear and anxiety to be the new idol in your business, and faith has literally left the chat. Now, I really do want to emphasize, okay, how appealing hustle culture actually is. Using the word hustle culture, no, it does not look appealing, but working hard and being disciplined and doing all of these things, and whenever it's about your passion, of course it looks good. It looks like literally a brand new car with a big red bow on it. It's like, ooh, fun, I want that. That looks nice. And the feelings and the labels that come with that is that you're being disciplined, you're being ambitious, you're responsible. Those are things that as a business owner, yes, it feels good. The enemy would literally not tempt you with something that did not feel good. Do you get what I'm saying? And here's where that gets a little bit messy, okay? Because all of those things, right? Disciplined, ambitious, responsible, all of the good traits that come with it, that is you being the source of where all of those things come from. And if you are the source, then where does God come in? What is he doing? You know, where's his hands at work if they're all yours? This is where we really see the difference between productivity and fruitfulness. We can contrast the two, right? So productivity means that you're doing more, you're doing a lot, you're working, right? You're working really hard. Fruitfulness, though, means that you're being obedient to the Lord and you're surrendering to his will. I won't lie, the scariest part is that you 100% can build something impressive without God's hand at work. That doesn't mean that it's bearing any fruit. Now, in closing, okay, I want you to think, and this is probably not going to be fun. It's probably going to punch you in the gut like it did for me, okay? But I want you to literally ask yourself, am I actually trusting God with my business right now, or am I just praying that he continues to bless me with what I want to control? Let it marinate for a little, you know?
This is gonna sound so dramatic, but we are fighting hustle culture for our humanity. We are so busy that responsibilities have become the main thing, and we are just forcing the human experience into the cracks. I have to set reminders to go outside, to call my family, to get any type of movement. I love going to the grocery store and cooking. I think wandering around Trader Joe's is a euphoric experience, but I cut those things out, very human things, because I feel like I don't have enough time. So instead I order food that's mostly pre-made and then just eat that instead. I have a friend who used to have an exercise bike in her living room and she would have to motivate herself to use it after work. Instead, she moved somewhere where it's like a biking city and she just bikes everywhere. She says she's in the best shape of her life, not because she's going out of her way to exercise, but because movement's just part of life. Things like art and recess are getting pulled out of school systems left and right. People are starting gardens everywhere because they want access to food. We resist taking vacation days. We're lonelier than ever. How have we strayed so far from the human experience?
It is not always easy being positive, especially if you're experiencing some sort of burnout, failure, or rejection. When you put your all into something and you don't see the results you set out for, especially after a long period of time, it's soul crushing. It is honestly so exhausting and it makes you just want to give up on everything and lose hope. But I'm here to tell you, it is okay. You're allowed to take a beat. You don't need to be so hard on yourself. I know hustle culture is a really big thing, especially in America, but it is allowed for you to take a breather when you've put in a lot of work and you're feeling a lot of resistance to whatever you're going after. Take a second. Figure out if it's even something you still want to pursue, and if so, what can you change? What can you do different? How can you rebalance things so it's not causing so much stress on your life, so much heartache on you? And yes, sometimes it's going to take a few tries, more than a few tries, to get to where you want to go. But the moral of this story is you are human and you do have a breaking point. You do have a point where your body says, this is enough for me. I'm actually at capacity and I need a break. I need rest. Balance is important. It doesn't mean be lazy or unmotivated. I don't like the word lazy, but you know what I mean. It means that you need to take a second, recalibrate, and figure out, where am I going from here? Because as of right now, this shit ain't working.
Okay, so I have to head into the studio soon, but I just think that this is a really important comment and I want to point it out. And also, if you were insecure about your timing at all in any way, shape, or form, you should go back and look at the comments on that video, because so many of you guys resonated with what I said in that video. And it was just a good bonding experience for us all. I have gone through so many periods of burnout in my life and cycles of burnout. And I feel like everybody has just been collectively going through burnout, just like on a societal level lately. You're just exhausted, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're just like caught in this cycle of exhaustion, really. You feel disconnected from yourself, your community, your business. The thing about burnout, though, is it doesn't ask you to push through, it asks to be listened to. Burnout is just your body pulling the e-brake and just like begging you to listen. So when I look back at certain points during my business where I burn out, I was never actually burnt out on the nails. I was never burnt out on seeing my clients and like living my dream life, right? I was burnt out on the way that I was running my business because it wasn't built in a way that was actually sustainable, because I was taking tips subconsciously from hustle culture. Most of hustle culture, and honestly, like by extension, capitalism as a whole, but that's like a whole different conversation. Hustle culture just promotes this idea because it associates your value with higher output, right? More clients, more money, more things, bigger houses, bigger cars, more expensive bags. It values you constantly chasing the next most valuable thing to impress people that you don't give a fuck about. It expects you to behave like a machine. It forgets about the human nuance, because that is what keeps you stuck in a cycle. And for something like working for a corporate job, that's what keeps you working for them. I didn't build a business to just feel miserable all the time. Don't know about you. Actually got out of those types of industries so that I wasn't miserable all the time, because I was. I think that a lot of us built our businesses and opened it and decided to go down the crazy path that is entrepreneurship because we wanted to break free of that kind of system. And what's ironic is that we ended up building something kind of just like it. I mostly just wanted to highlight this comment because it is something that I am very passionate about, being very anti-hustle culture and being against cycles of burnout and how to regulate yourself so that you don't have to end up back in those types of vicious cycles. And I think that this comment combined with all of the other comments on that video should show you that you're just not alone. The whole point of building a business that fits your life is so that you can actually enjoy your life. If your business only works when you are constantly overworking, constantly miserable, and have no personality outside of being a business owner, it is not going to be sustainable and you will quit. There's just like no nice way to say it. Take it from someone who is a self-proclaimed expert on burnout. Burnout is begging you to listen, not to push through, not to ignore it, not to bury it down. It is your body pulling the e-brake and asking you to pay attention and to say that something is wrong and that something is out of alignment and that something is not working. I just don't think it's supposed to be miserable. It's not supposed to take the fun out of it for you. A lot of us also got into nails because we love the artistry of it. Like, why would we want to get away from that? A really subtle difference, and it's really hard to explain, but it should show you, you know, people who are valuing speed and getting people in and like making a ton of money. That's great if that is your prerogative in life, but there are just some of us that are in it for the artistry, in it for the experience, in it for what it can offer our lives in terms of value.
Having multiple jobs is rapidly becoming normalized, and it is stressing me out. I consider myself to be an optimistic, busybody, go-getter. I've had multiple jobs since I entered the workforce, but not because I felt like I needed multiple jobs. No, I liked having my corporate girly job, logging off, and then going to my retail job where I got to look at clothes and ask people if they needed dressing rooms and basically just have like a dress-up party all day and talk with the girlies. But right now, whenever I see a video of someone talking about their financial success, including myself, we're always talking about like, oh, I have reached this financial success in this way because I have a bunch of jobs, because I have a full-time 6-figure career, as well as XYZ that also are making thousands of dollars every single month. And that's so fun when it feels like pure overachieving. But now I feel like we're reaching a level that is making that more normalized. And I do live in Southern California, and the cost of living where I live is really high. So like my perception is heavily impacted by that. But overall, I feel like we are moving in a direction that is super hard to maintain. And I'm also really tired of seeing like child businesses celebrated, not because I'm anti-child, but because I feel like we are regressing into like child labor. Why are we proud of a 7-year-old who has started a lemonade business and now like goes to fairs on the weekends to sell lemonade in order to put money towards their college fund or their future business endeavors? Why am I seeing so many 11-year-old entrepreneurs? I worry that we're moving in a direction where in the future, like if I decided to have kids or whatever, we're gonna have like 15-year-olds who are down on themselves because they didn't start a business before the age of 10, so now they can't afford to buy a house or to go to college. I want to post personal finance content. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I enjoy. But I'm also so irritated. Like if I wanted to be part of the change, then I should like have one stream of income and not talk about ways to make more money versus, you know, stretch what you have. But that would impact my quality of life and also my own financial goals. So it feels like there's no way to not be a part of the rat race. And the rat race is like becoming a triathlon. I'm annoyed and I'm tired, and I'm still gonna work hard, and I'm gonna still have multiple jobs, and I'm gonna still do all the things that I'm currently doing, and I'm gonna do it with a smile, but sometimes
the way that the society is set up is like, it's unstabling, it's productivity culture, it's hustle culture, it's wrapping our self-worth up in what are we doing, it's constantly doing, it's constantly going. Like I had to completely like tear myself out of that reality. So this was like 2020. I was teaching full-time. I'm an educator for social workers. Now I do that part-time on the side in a way that works for me. But at the time I was full-time, deeply embedded in academia. I was like in all the social justice spaces. I was like just doing a lot of community organizing, a lot of advocacy and activism. Like I just was investing my whole self in service. And a lot of that was because that was how I was getting my sense of self-worth. I didn't really understand who I was without the labels of my profession. I didn't really understand who I was without who I was to other people. And it's really easy to get lost when that's the way that we form our identities. And so that took me on a pathway, like a spiral downwards, and I got into hardcore burnout. I began to have, I'd always struggled with anxiety. Since like high school, I had struggled off and on with like mild depression, but I was functional. I thought it was normal. Like I didn't really know anybody in my reality who seemed like super truly happy. And so I didn't even like have a frame of reference of understanding that like maybe anxiety and depression wasn't just a natural, normal way of being. And so that took me to burnout when things got really, when I was really overgiving, when I was really investing. I was like going to school for a PhD at the same time. It just was like all the pieces were crumbling. I was like dating somebody who had a lot of needs and had a lot of trauma. And so I was just like giving. There was all the energy going out and no energy coming back in. And so it drove me into burnout. And that experience taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about sustainability. It taught me a lot about the way that systems in society will like siphon our energy, like suck our energy. As we are entering this new year and there's like all this pressure we're facing to go and push ourselves and do all the things, what can it look like to instead start to recalibrate into what do we need to show up sustainably?
We need to talk about hustle culture and how it might be killing you. Allow me to elaborate. I just saw a LinkedIn post where someone couldn't sleep at 3 a.m, so instead of addressing that like a fucking human being, they opened Claude Code on their phone and started building an app. And the comments were full of people calling it inspiring. That is fucking unhinged. So somewhere in the last decade, an entire content industry emerged around the idea that rest is a character flaw and is being driven by people like Alex Hormozi and the like. The entire ecosystem of hustle content creators who figured out that packaging sleep deprivation as an ambition is an incredibly effective way to sell courses or memberships and a lifestyle brand built on making you feel guilty for having boundaries. And if you're not doing all of that, you clearly don't want it badly enough. Hormozi sold a portfolio of companies for hundreds of millions of dollars, but he's not grinding out of necessity. He's got his work ethic from a position of extreme financial security. However, he is packaging it as universal advice for people who are 1 month away from missing rent. The context is completely different, but the message gets delivered as though it applies equally to everyone. It doesn't. So if you're sitting there watching these posts and feeling like you're falling behind because you slept for 8 hours last night, or you didn't build a startup before fucking breakfast, relax. Rest is productive, and boundaries are professional. A career that requires you to destroy your health to maintain it isn't going to be sustainable. So grind, but within your boundaries. Best of luck.
Please like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below on what's going on. I'll see you on the next one.